So the Screamer Killer is a pretty sweet model from the Leviathan box. But if, like me, you've ended up with more than one of these boxes, it can be quite difficult to know what to do with the duplicates. Sure, you'll end up with a sizable swarm of Termagants, Neurogaunts, and more Barbgaunts and Von Ryan's Leapers than you can shake a stick at. But that same stick is shaking at you about what to do with the characters and big monsters that you've now got duplicates of. Sure, you could convert them into other models like I did with my Neurotyrant in this video up here. Today we're looking at painting up two Screamer Killers. One, the regular version, and the other, a conversion from the Bits box and my warp-addled twisted mind. This should be fun. While in the game it seems to be a smidge overcosted for what it can do. The only thing I've ever seen a Screamer Killer do is run up the board and then die hideously on turn 2 to a bunch of gunfire. The Screamer Killer's bulky frame and enormous talons make it a really awesome model for any Tyranid collection. It also makes it likely you'll want to avoid returning his massive bear hug. Now, the regular Screamer Killer got a classic Leviathan paint job. I actually started this on Hobby with Ollie's first ever live stream. If you enjoy inane banter while you paint, check it out. We stream every Tuesday at 7 PM GMT, and you can check it out for such insightful commentary as this. Bye Ollie, hi otters. I'm in agreement. All in agreement say aye. I propose just a band of adorable otters running the stream instead of me. For the converted guy, I had an idea of what I wanted. I first popped him off his base and then trimmed all the scenery around his feet. One of the easiest ways to significantly change a model is by messing around with changing its silhouette. This Screamer Killer looked primed to be turned over into more of a hunched position like a classic Carnifex. Or rather, like the most recent iteration of a Carnifex, not whatever this thing is. I stood his back leg up on a rock in order to accommodate the new position that he was standing in. Now his new position made these Hive Tyrant legs really stand out to me. These scuttling legs would be perfect to allow him to crawl over rocks and debris to get at the enemy. This then left the front arms, and the choice was obvious. In his new hunched form, this guy really resembles a crab. Truly, everything is becoming crab. So the crushing crab claws from the Carnifex kit, solid alliteration there, were slotted in at an appropriate crab rave angle. I also applied some battle damage by snipping off bits of carapace and some of the smaller claws from around the model. The mission from Meg was to make this conversion so that one of them is like the brand new guy on the block and the other one is the grizzled old battle-hardened veteran. Now I actually lost the footage of me adding the head, but after a bit of back and forth, I made an armoured crab head from a spare Carnifex torso plate, a Carnifex head with a long tongue with toxin sacs and these squiggly bits sticking out the front. I got some base paints on him, dark purple for the carapace, and then Reichland flesh shade on all the fleshy parts. Next, we're going to look at the colours that I used to make the converted model stand out from his regular Screamer Killer counterpart. But just before I do, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy this kind of video. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing, and every single one of you who joins the channel really motivates me to make bigger and better videos, so thank you all so much. You can also join the new Hobby with Ollie Discord server and chat to me and your fellow hobbyists if that's your thing. If it's not, you can still wade into the Horus Heres tea, the ongoing battle between chaotic, traitorous coffee drinkers and those loyal to the Emperor who only drink the finest of teas. There's no tea in this, but if there was a beverage in here, it'd be tea, obviously. With all that said, thanks so much for checking out the video, and let's get back to it. I started by applying black to all the hooves and claws. On both Screamer Killers, these will be getting a coat of carmine red applied towards the edges. Here you can see what I did on the regular Screamer Killer as well. This just helps to give an additional colour and some more interest to the claws and hooves, while still keeping it relatively quick. I still have a lot of nids to go through, so the quicker I can apply really cool effects, the better. Speaking of which, to transition between the Reichland Flesh Shade and the weapons, I used Carroburg Crimson applied closer to the pointy end of the limbs of this beast. I thin this down and sometimes just use pure water on a brush to help smooth the colour change between these two areas. Now, a few parts did need a touch up with off-white before reapplying Reichland Flesh Shades once all of these coats had gone down. I used the same carmine red as I had on the hooves for the tongue, which was washed over with Carroburg Crimson. Next up is the unique selling point of this converted Screamer Killer, his acidic, horrific maw. For this, I used Beal Tan Green to shade over the droplets and toxin sacs at the bottom of the tongue. And then, to emphasise the toxic nature, I applied lime green onto raised surfaces like the bulges of the sacs. I also applied this to the wibbly parts around his mouth. I probably need to come up with a proper name for these, so let's call them his toxin dispersal glands. I like the sound of that. Well, in theory. In practice, I'd be running as fast as possible in the opposite direction. I drew lines onto these using the lime green to indicate the acidic, toxic goop flowing through these organic structures. I lastly picked out the teeth with off-white and a few strategic strokes of Beal Tan Green to tie it all together. With that part done, only the carapace remains. Purple first over the bottom third of each carapace panel, and then streaks with white added to show the growth marks. Nice and simple, but super visually impactful. The regular Screamer Killer was getting a similar treatment, but also got some jazzy blue parts added to the vents on his carapace. These were painted white, and then washed with steadily lighter blues to get a cool, glowy effect. So there we have it. Let's take a look at them both together, first with the regular Screamer Killer, and then his toxic sibling. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Hobby with Ollie. If you have enjoyed it and you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out my Element Games affiliate link in the description down below. Element Games sells discounted products compared with Games Workshop, and if you follow those links, I will get a little kickback on anything you purchase at no additional cost to you. It's really a win-win. Thank you to those of you using that link. In the meantime, my name has been Ollie, this has been my hobby, and I'll see you next time.